Okay, just finding my feet. So welcome to It's in the Balance. We're continuing with our theme of balance, and we're continuing with how we do that through flowing movements. Each week we're putting in additional challenges. So you know, hopefully, that if you can remember some of the things from the previous weeks, you know you can go back a stage if you need to change or adapt, not use the arms, not use the leg movements exactly the same. That's also fine. So just meet yourself where you are, but hopefully the flow movements will support the balance. So yeah, the movement happens more frequently than if we did longer pauses, obviously. So there's a different kind of support going on. But as we run, as we move, we're never in on one foot for very long. So it kind of replicates a little bit more kind of real life movement in terms of balance. So we're going to start with that stalk movement as we've been doing each week. So we're going to take the hands up, bring the knee up to hip height, return that foot to the ground and go to the opposite side. So just alternating on the spot. And we're finding our own flow, which may be easier on one side than the other. So finding a point in front of you might help. Temptation, I know, is to look at the screen, and that might work. But if it doesn't work, then find a position where you can look at something that's not moving, and that might help. And then also that might create your own rhythm. Whereas if you're looking at the screen, you might be tempted to go to my rhythm. So just pause for a moment. And what we're going to do from here, again, it's an option, you don't have to do it. It creates a little bit more tension in the body, or you could say a little bit more tonal support, but it might just make people not feel like it's just too strong. So you kind of do what we were doing before, or as you sweep the knee up, you just come up for a second on by raising the heel, just come up for a second by raising the heel. So it's as we go up, the arms kind of help us give a wee lift. So it's only for a moment. So it will mean maybe it doesn't feel quite as controlled each time. Maybe it's fine on one side, but not on another. Maybe you're going too high onto the balls of the feet. I'm finding one side easy on one side really more challenging. Okay. So once you've got equal sides, again, a pause. Rearranging my mat a bit here. So a similar movement, but this time we're going to be taking the arms out to the side from palms facing inwards in front of the chest. So it's the same movement with the legs. So as we come open up, we bring the knee up. We bring the hands back towards the chest. So it creates a little bit more work on stabilizing the upper body as the arms go out. I feel more work going on in the upper arms and through the chest, bringing the shoulder blades back. So just, for some people that might make more sense to the body. And maybe none of them make more sense. Just see how you go with that. So for me, I think it makes me feel like I want to lift the leg a little higher than when I was doing the previous movement, because that arms are more clearly out of the way, I guess. So finishing off when you're equal and relax. Hey, So we're going to, again, repeat and in some ways add to what we've been doing previously. So got a very ski with mat today. So I'm coming to the front of my mat. We're going to sweep both arms up and bring one knee up to step back and land on the ball of our feet. So we land where we land. So sweeping the knee up, arms up, floating the leg back. So here we're going to be landing with the front knee bent, broadly the knee over the ankle. And we're trying to stabilize enough with the back foot in terms of the ball of the foot down and the toes. They're pointing forward as with the front foot. Okay, so from here, I'm going to sweep the arms up to get some length reminders to kind of create a little bit of activation through the core. And then from there, we take the elbows out to the side, kind of cactus arms, hands up. And then we step forward to, just for a moment, bringing the back leg off the ground. We reconnect with the ground. We take the arms up, we swing them back, and we step forward. Okay. So we'll do that again on the same side, just to slow that down, just as a reminder. So both arms sweep up, one knee, same leg, steps back, find your position, sweep the arms up to extend, take the elbows out to the side to get that stability through the upper body, avoiding jutting out through the waist, and hop forward or step forward or lift the back foot off the ground. Replace that foot, extend the arms as we kind of reconnect with the ground a little bit more clearly, swing the arms back and come back to the front of the mat. Okay, so we're going to do that the same twice on the second side. So floating both arms up, bring the knee up and stepping back. So you've got both feet facing forward, front leg, knees bent, knees broadly over the ankle. We're sweeping both arms up, palms face as we get length down both sides of the body. Take the elbows out to the side and we step forward as we lean forward from the hips just for a moment. We've refined our positioning. We head up with the arms just to reconnect to get length again through the body, let the arms sweep back and comes back to the front of the mat. Second time, second side. So arm sweep up, knee comes with you. Stepping back as arms swing back, finding your position. Sweep the arms up, lengthen through both sides. Elbows out to the side and lean forward, hop forward, whichever going to work for you. So I'm a bit trapped again here. So I'll just try and straighten up there. Foot back to the ground. Arms reaching towards the sky, swing arms back and down, step forward, and we're back to landing. Okay, so we've done that one before, so hopefully that's beginning to feel a little bit more okay. I kind of know where I'm going, what I'm doing with my body. I'm changing the next one, so this one's a little bit more challenging from what we did last week. So we're going to be stepping back into Warrior 2, which you're used to, and then we're going to go into side angle, which you're used to, but then we're going to hop the back leg off the ground. So for this one, you might just need to watch, up to you. So I'm going to take this leg, one facing you, behind me. So I'm going to use the same arm. So I'm just using one arm. So I'm taking the arm up, the knee up, and I'm stepping back, so the foot now is on the floor, slightly turning in with the toes from the heel. I'm going from here to side angle, and from here I'm just going to hop and raise the leg for a second. I'm going to hop back and I'm going to reconnect with Warrior 2. Okay, I'll sweep forward and we can do that together just in case you just wanted to make sure you've watched the whole process. So I'm going to just swing, same arms, come back to the front of the mat. Okay, so I'm going to do this again, assuming you haven't done it yet. So sweeping the arm up and the knee, stepping out to your warrior. So front knees bent, broadly knee over the ankle, arms coming straight out. From here, I'm going into side angle. So I'm not putting too much weight on this leg because I've got to stay light, because I'm going to try and hop and just take that back foot off the ground for a moment. Find the floor again, find my position back into warrior two, and then floating the arm and the leg back to the front of the mat. So second time, first side is what I think is happening. So if you've already done two, you can take a pause, or you can just do another one. So floating up arm, leg, same side, step back into your warrior. From here, coming over into a light version of side angle, hop and lift. And just for a second, step back, land, warrior two, step forward and land. Okay. So second side, but these if I come to this side here. So same arm, same leg, stepping back into your warrior. From here, coming over into side angle, hop, maybe two hops, maybe three hops, maybe just take the toes off the floor, maybe take it higher, step back, re-engage with warrior two, back arm, back leg, straight through and down. Okay. So second time, second side, arm, knee, step back, slight side angle, hop, lift when you're ready, and foot back, heel down, warrior, back arm, back leg, float to the front, just a floating going on today. Okay, great, well done. So those are that one particular was more challenging. That was an addition to what we did last week. So we're adding a little bit more challenge in terms of the balance there. We're still keeping with the moving and they're just the moment pauses rather than really holding things. So I'm going to come down onto all fours again, as we did last week. And for our all fours repeat, if you like, we're going to do the kicking donkey one. So that's where we bring the knee to the nose and we just take the leg behind us. Knee to nose, same side. And take the leg behind you. So just finding a flow, get a little bit more ease, hopefully for the back, as we bring the knee to the nose. With length and trying to keep the pelvis equal so we kind of stay stable in that central area throughout the whole process. So when you take the leg back, don't take it any higher than hip distance and don't create an extra extended arch through the lower back and keeping that broadly in neutral. So it's round in the back, but it's not arching the back like we would in cow, from cow. So one more on this side. And back to all fours. Just find your base again. And second side, knee to nose, extend behind you. So you might need to check that you're not extending the leg too high, because that will create issues for the back. And it's hard to know. So for me, it's easier because I've got the screen to actually check out on that. So the next one plus one. And back onto all fours. Okay, maybe just come onto the knuckles for a moment to give the wrists a little bit of a break. So what we're going to do is extend one leg and the alternate arm forward, and we're going to do some circles with the arm and the leg. So just see how it goes to start off with without doing the circling. So we're going to extend one leg, opposite hand. So I tend to have my palm facing in, thumb towards the sky. You can do it with palm down, so you choose what feels good for the shoulder and come back down. And see how we go on the second side, extending through the leg and extend. So again, it can be easy to arch the lower back. Just bring the rib cage in and get some support from your core there if you can. And back to base. Okay, so where we're going with this is we're going to go back to the first side and see if you could do little circles from your hip and little circles from your shoulder. So it's like drawing circles behind you and in front of you, and it may not be much movement. It might be fine in the arm, but not so good in the leg. Just go one way, the way that's natural. Let's keep it straightforward. And back to base. So obviously, I don't want you to take even though you're circling, I don't want you to take the leg too high, as it's going to get a bit more complicated for the lower back to cope with it. So it is a really small circle with your back leg. So really getting into that joint as well as balancing. Okay, so opposite leg, just make sure your hip height or even below, and then just see if you can do that. So sometimes it's hard to identify where you're doing the circling from in the hip. And you need obviously that lower arm to stabilize as well as through your core. Do your best to kind of think of the joint of the shoulder and joint of the hip. Well done. Come back to somewhere secure and breathe there. Okay, so we're going to go onto our back. So we're going to do again some things that we've already done and some additional things. So initially, now we're here, just give weight to the ground so you can release tension. And then from there, we're doing as we did last week, we're just picking up one foot, one knee, and doing kind of walking, marching movement. And you decide how much you want to bring the knee closer in towards the chest, or whether you want to keep that fairly low. So the more you're able to lift the foot and the knee, the more you'll get an extension in the lower back, which hopefully is a relief rather than creating any other tension there. So obviously this is fairly straightforward, hopefully. You're very much in control, and we're all on the ground, so balance isn't the same issue here. But it is more about, what's going on one side of the body here and what's going on the other side. And there is some balance, but it's obviously limited here. Okay. So from here, I'm going to cross the ankle over the opposite, just below, above the knee to the thigh. And then we're going to lift the leg like we were marching. So obviously that would be won't have as much space to do that because we've got some restraint from the ankle. So the knee's going out to the side into external rotation, and you're keeping the ankle flexed, dorsiflex, whatever kind of gives more support for the knee. And let's relax there. So unhook and pause for a moment, just let things settle. Before you go to the other side. So same thing. And obviously the closer you get your heel to your butt to start off with, the harder that's likely to be on the hip, because you're going to be having to take the hip further into rotation, external rotation. But once you pick the leg up, you're going to be working on it whatever. Get the chin reasonably close to the chest if you can. And just find a soft movement. So there's going to be some resistance, as I say, not just from the hip, but that whole area around the bum, around the belly, around the lower back, and the upper back is going to get a little bit of work going on here. Okay, and unhook and pause there for a moment. So from here, we're going to that movement where we cross over, we're going to do that. We're going to do it in bridge, possible. So you choose again how you want your arms. So you could have your arms by your side with your palms down. You could have robot arms. So that one's more supportive. Yeah, with the arms more in robot arms would bend at the elbow and the fingers pointed towards the sky. It's a little bit less support if the arms are extended. And you can try both. Yeah, so I'm going to try both. So coming up, bringing the heels reasonably close into the butt, lifting the pelvis to just to a height that you know you can maintain, or at least you think you can maintain. So it's not going to be very high because you're going to need to create that external rotation. So first side, see if you can get that ankle hooked over the knee onto the thigh and open up. So the temptation is because of the weight that you allow that to drop. So you've got to keep the pelvis in neutral, so the knee will be, for most people, higher than the pelvis. Some people will be very open here. Flexing, dorsiflexing the ankle and coming back down. Gently unhooking and pausing there. Okay, so we're going to do that the same on the first side. So I'm going to do it this time with robot arms, so just see how that is. And I'm bringing my heels closer to my butt. I'm going to head up. I'm going to get back in position. So for me, that's definitely feels easier. Yeah, I feel more support, the other way of looking at it, to keep the pelvis and really the whole body active on the sort of stabilizing side. So I could stay here longer down the other side. But I'm going to unhook and come down. Okay, so second side. So maybe on the second side, if you're going to do both, stay with the robot arms, and the second time, go up with the arms on the ground. So just making sure your heels haven't chased away too far away from your bum. Come up into a fairly restrained bridge, so your pelvis is in neutral, aligned, parallel. Cross over with the ankle onto the thigh. Avoid that drop on the bent knee side. And just pause there for a moment. Unhook the leg. Take the pelvis down. Okay. So second time, arms down. Maybe I've only done it twice, so I apologize if we have. Open up again, crossing the ankle and pausing there. And once you've done it more than, once you've got used to the bridge a little bit more, then hopefully it gets a little bit easier. Obviously, if you're very tired, that will not be the case. Okay, and unhook and lower the pelvis. Okay. So we're going to go back into bridge. So just bring the feet together, come up into, a fairly soft bridge. Arms are on the ground with the palms facing down, and just do the marching from here. So again, we're keeping the pelvis hopefully happy and neutral. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to need to give myself a little bit more room, a bit tightly up towards the back of the room here. So you can still see me. Okay, so arms are out at shoulder level, which you might not be able to see. And feet are wide, so we're doing this wide-legged twist. So as you take your knees over to one side, if you look at the opposite hand, so it's a bit more of a twist throughout the whole of the body, spiraling. Lift the knees up and take to the opposite side and head in the other direction. So you're rolling on your skull is the better way of kind of managing this than thinking of turning the head. Okay, and then neutral, and then opposite side. And if you don't like moving the head because it feels uncomfortable in the neck, then just keep the gaze up towards the sky. So just moving from one to the other now. So we just create a little bit of unwinding for a moment. So what you can do to add to this is the knees go over, whichever's the top leg. So I'm going over to the left, my right leg's the top leg. I'm going to extend through that right knee so the whole side gets a little bit more lengthening, which means the bum rises a bit more from the floor. And then rest that, go back over to the other side. And again, maybe lengthen down the whole side from the armpit all the way through to the knee. And then just do that a couple more times on each side. You don't have to stay for long, just visit it, come out of it, and rock to the other side. Okay, so like last week, we're going to finish on a standing balance. So we're going to just do tree pose this week. So bringing the legs back into center, bringing your knees into the chest for a moment to take the lower back off the floor and rolling over or rocking up. Now don't get up too quickly because it's a bit of a shock. Been down quite a while, and rolling and rocking. Okay, so what I'm suggesting today is we do something different with the tree pose. So our tree this week, again, you can just do as we did last week. You can just bring the hands together and do foot onto the calf, and you can swap sides to have it more as a kind of balance, but only balancing for a moment. But what you can do this week, partly depends on comfort in the hips, is you can take one arm up. As you do that, it's also bringing the other foot in towards, you have to stop for a moment and get there, have another go, kind of get there and down. So we're just playing really with this, and if you need to do the wall and do that activity. So it's hard for a lot of people to get the sole of the foot into the thigh. So as I say, just keep that low, no problem at all. So a couple more times on this first side. Just visit it, extending will help through that arm, come down. Visit again. Down and pause. Or you try the other side. Okay, so we're extending a bit, see if we can find the ankle. So a very happy one. Going to try again. Extend. I'm going to hold it for a second because that's all I can do today. So repeating a few times. I'm getting better after that first one. It's a little bit wobbly. So prepare yourself for wobbliness, and wobbliness is not a failure. Wobbliness is just kind of part of the practice to come back and think, okay, maybe I've just kind of rushed that, or maybe body just needs to learn a little bit more how that feels. Okay, so from here, just sweeping the arms up, you can keep the legs down. And you can bend the knees so we can be just a little bit more light. And also, after being uneven, we just want to even the body out a little bit to lengthen and relax into it. Okay. And we can finish there. So it's interesting to try these things at different times. So I've fairly recently come back from a 10-mile run, and that's been much harder today to do that than when I've had kind of a relaxing morning and I've come into the work. So it's interesting to try things before, after a run, and just see what difference, how that impacts on your balance really. When you're tired after a run, it's going to make more of a, we're going to be a bit more challenging. So thank you for week 3, and I'll see you next week for number 4 out of 6. Okay, have a good week, everyone. See you then.